Hi, my name is Junhong. I'm an assistant professor at NTU Psychology, and it is my pleasure to tell you more about the psychology program we offer at NTU. In the next 15 minutes or so, I'll be introducing you to psychology and what we study in psychology. And then we'll talk about the psychology program that we offer at NTU. I'll give you a brief overview of the program. You'll see that our program is well recognized internationally, well ranked internationally, and then we'll be talking about the undergraduate curriculum before moving on to the career development and pathways. Alright, so to start off, let me briefly introduce to you what is psychology. Psychology is the scientific study of the mind and behavior. This scientific study of the mind and behavior often takes place in the context of mental health, education, and society. As psychologists, we often aspire to improve the human condition in various ways, such as to improve mental health, to end various kinds of discriminations and stigma in the society, to enhance our learning experience, to combat climate change, and many more. Next, I would like to give you a brief sampling of the topics that we study in psychology. So the general impression of psychology is that we study the mind, feelings, and thoughts. It does sound a lot like mind reading. And because of this, some of us, including my students, are perhaps annoyed by many of people who are often asking us if we can read their minds. So I would like to correct this misconception, because some of us do literally read minds. Right, so let me explain. So yes, we read minds, but not in the way you think we do. Okay. So in order to read your minds, we'll need you to undergo an MRI scan, okay, and run some machine learning analysis on your MRI data, and from there we can decode the brain signals collected during the scan to tell us about your mental status. Okay, so we are literally reading your mind from these brain signals. Next, let's talk about procrastination. Procrastination affects all of us, right? We experience this all the time. What does psychology tells us about procrastination? We procrastinate because we are not adequately motivated to focus on the task at hand. We procrastinate because we value immediate rewards more so than future rewards. All right, and if we see our friends procrastinating, we will feel comfortable to procrastinate as well. Okay, and sometimes we have too many choices of what to do next, and this indecision on what to do next can lead us to procrastinate. So how do we deal with this, right? How do we minimize procrastination, right? We can minimize procrastination by breaking up the task into smaller parts. Why? Because it requires less motivation to complete these smaller tasks. Right? We can place ourselves in environment with minimal distractions. Right? We can place ourselves in situations where there is not many other things we can do except to focus on the task at hand. So to give you an example, right, if you want to study, right, you might want to go to the library because at the library there is not many other things you can do except to study. Climate change is a major issue that concerns many youths these days, and combating climate change is certainly not an easy task. What does psychology tells us about combating climate change? Right, first, we should not talk about climate change as a future, distant, global, non-personal phenomenon implicating the collective humanity, because these are often too abstract, too difficult to relate on the personal level, right? Instead, we need to focus on the present and on the individual, right? We need to facilitate more emotional and experiential engagement. So to give you an example, right, this means that we need to experience the inconvenience and the discomfort associated with climate change. Like for instance, to switch off the aircon at work on a hot day. Okay, we need to experience the heat. It needs to make us feel uncomfortable. Okay, we need to cultivate social norms to make certain environmental friendly behaviors stick, right? We need to give the impression that, hey, everyone is doing this, so you'll feel that pressure to adhere to these social norms. Okay, so let's talk about NTU Psychology. So at NTU Psychology, we offer scientific and practical training to introduce students to the giant field of psychology. This is where you will learn about psychology research. This is where you will be introduced to the professional practices of psychologists. So we also prepare students with the required skills and training for postgraduate studies. If you want to be a clinical psychologist, you have to pursue a master's in clinical psychology. If you want to be an educational psychologist, you have to pursue a master's in educational psychology. Okay, so we prepared students with the required skills and training so that they can be admitted to these master programs. Okay, currently across all 4 years of training, we have about 500 plus undergraduate students. So these students include second majors and students who minor in psychology. Right. So in our faculty, we have got 21 full-time faculty members meaning lecturers and professors. So we have a good mix of international and local colleagues in our faculty. So these colleagues cover diverse areas of expertise. We have done pretty well in terms of international recognition. According to the Times Higher Education World University Rankings, we are the best young university for the second year running. And according to the QS World University Rankings, NTU is ranked 15 internationally. Okay, so if you look at the subject rankings, NTU Psychology is ranked 28 in the world and second in Asia. So you might ask, why are these rankings important? Right, these rankings are very important if you are going to pursue postgraduate studies, right? Because usually the postgraduate program, the postgraduate admission committee, they will look at the ranking of your undergraduate university. So if you come from a highly ranked university, you'll be at an advantage compared to the other applicants. Moving on, let's talk about the undergraduate training at NTU Psychology. In terms of undergraduate training, we require our psychology major students to complete 9 psychology core courses. So these core courses are compulsory courses which anyone who wants to graduate as a psychology major will have to complete them. Right, and then we also have got the psychology electives. So these are optional courses, meaning that out of a selection of 20, 30 psychology courses, you can pick any 10 of them to complete. Okay, and for some of you, you'll be tasked to complete a final year project. So this is a research dissertation project that spans across 2 semesters during your fourth year of study. Right, this is where you'll collect data, you'll analyze them, and then write out a report. So most of these courses, they are conducted in the lectures and tutorial format. Right, for some of the higher level modules which you do in your year 3 and year 4, they are conducted as discussion seminars. So we offer close to 60 different courses, 60 different basic and advanced courses. So these core and elective courses, they are spread across many areas of psychology, such as biological psychology, cognitive neuroscience, developmental psychology, and so on. Okay, so over here on the right, you can see that these are some of the courses that we have offered over the past few years. So we have a strong emphasis on research at NTU Psychology. So these are some of the major research areas that we have engaged in over the past few years. So as I mentioned previously, we have got colleagues with diverse areas of expertise. We have people who are experts in these different areas. So if you're interested to do some psychology research, we offer the undergraduate research experience on campus, or the Eureka program in short. So this Eureka program is uniquely offered by NTU to our students. Okay, so at the end of your first year of study, right, we invite the top students, right, top students in terms of their cumulative GPA to join the Eureka program. So if you are selected to join the Eureka program, you'll receive one-on-one research training from a faculty member at NTU. So this is where you'll gain valuable experience in terms of the interdisciplinary research, right? So whatever you have done for your Eureka project, Eureka program, you can imagine it will be very valuable on your CV, right? It will give you a competitive edge over other candidates, when you eventually apply for graduate school studies. If you're going to do a master's program, you're going to do a PhD, then, all these Eureka experience or whatever you have done for Eureka, it will certainly look very good on your CV. And not only that, you'll get the opportunity to present your research at major international conferences. Okay, so we'll fly you over to US, to Europe, to Australia. We'll pay for your hotel, accommodation. We'll pay for your airfare, right? And you'll present your research in front of an international audience. So as you can imagine, this presentation at international conference is quite a big deal. It will look pretty good on your CV as well. So these are some of the examples of the conferences that you can look forward to attend to present your Eureka research findings. So this was me 2 years ago. I brought a couple of students to the International Neuropsychological Society meeting in Taiwan. So just last year, I also brought a couple of students to the Australasian Society at Social Affective Neuroscience meeting. Okay, so during this conference, one of our students, this person over here, he won the Best Data Blitz presentation. Okay, and in his category, there were 12 other candidates, and he won the Best Data Blitz presentation. So this is pretty remarkable. So as you can see, our students are doing pretty well. Speaking of our students' achievements, over here you can see that our undergraduate students have published papers at top psychology and neuroscience journals. So over here we have a couple of examples of students who were supervised by me. They published their research in top psychology and neuroscience journals. And of course, there are plenty of other students supervised by my other colleagues who have published in similarly reputable psychology and neuroscience journals as well. Next, I would like to talk about our overseas exchange opportunities. So most of you will eventually have the opportunity to go on student exchange. This exchange program typically takes place during the second year of your studies, for some of you even in your third year of studies. So this student exchange, right, will pretty much be the most memorable highlight of your entire undergraduate experience. You'll get to experience studying in an entirely different environment without paying the costly overseas university fees. You'll learn to adapt to different cultural environments. This will certainly broaden your horizons. You'll open your eyes. You'll open your minds. Right? Some of you will even learn to speak a new language. Right? You'll meet lots of people and you'll have lots of fun in your travels. Finally, let's talk about the career development and pathways of an NTU Psychology graduate. We have a compulsory 10-week-long internship program that is typically undertaken during the third year of your studies. This is intended to prepare you for your subsequent employment. Through this internship, you'll have a better idea of what to expect subsequently in your working lives. Right? You'll experience the working culture even while you're still a student. You have plenty of opportunities to develop and hone your interpersonal skills, and you have plenty of opportunities to expand your professional network as well. In terms of career pathways, more than half of our graduates are eventually employed in the government sector or with NGOs. A significant proportion of our students were presented with job offers at the end of their internships, and most of them eventually accepted these offers. So these are some of the examples of the government and non-government organizations who eventually employ our students. Most of these organizations are also the same organizations who offer internship positions to our students as well. And if you are feeling adventurous, you can consider joining a startup or starting one yourself. There are plenty of startups out there working on psychology-related applications. So in this example here, the startup has developed a lie detector app by making use of the micro-facial expressions captured from video feeds to discern between truth or lies. Okay, so in this other example here, Neuro is a local startup. They have developed a portable EEG headband that can measure your brain signals in many different situations and contexts. So these brain signals can provide useful information about the person's mental state, and these signals can be used in various brain-computer interfaces in the context of education and mental health. So to wrap up, overall, we offer a holistic training program at NTU Psychology that is steeped in scientific reasoning. We want you to actualize your intellectual potential, and we want you to be meaningfully employed. So, I have come to the end of my talk. Thank you very much for your attention and interest in NTU Psychology. I hope to see you soon at NTU. Do check us out at these different social media platforms to learn more about us.